I'm Natalia Williams, 28 years old. I married Henry, a senior colleague from the same company, 2 years ago. Henry, who is 2 years older than me, was the one who confessed his feelings first. For a while after our marriage, we didn't have children, but considering our age, we decided to try for a baby. As a result, I'm now happily pregnant. The baby is due by the end of the year. Currently, my morning sickness has subsided, and I'm in my second trimester, so I'm busy preparing for the birth. I lost my parents early on, so I've been very grateful for Henry's parents for all they've done for me. They are eagerly looking forward to the birth of their first grandchild. Henry's parents live in a rather rural area, so we don't get to see them often. But they frequently send me nutritional supplements and homegrown fruits and vegetables with messages like, "Take good care of yourself and make sure to eat well to have a healthy baby." Thanks to them, and perhaps because I've entered a more stable phase, I've gained a bit of weight recently from enjoying all the fresh produce. I have an older sister. Her name is Julia Roberts, 32 years old. She is already married and has a lovely daughter. My 3-year-old niece, Amy. Julia's husband, David, who is the same age, dotes on her and is already saying things like, "I won't let her get married," or "Anyone who asks for her hand, I'll knock them out." Julia just laughs and says, "You're so silly." Well, they're a lively and good family. When Julia found out I was pregnant, she became a great mentor, giving me advice.
If you have any questions, feel free to ask me anytime.
Since Julia has experience, I plan to refer to her for various things. She even has some baby items she no longer uses, which will help with our budget. Whenever I go to the OB/GYN, Julia accompanies me. My doctor is Dr. Bailey, an experienced female doctor. She's kind and someone we can trust. Once, she even gave Henry and me a lecture.
First and foremost, the pregnant woman is the center of attention. She must be prioritized above everything else.
Oh, I see. Is that so?
Henry looked a bit anxious.
Of course, I'm not saying the husband should do all the housework. Pregnant women need moderate exercise too. However, she shouldn't lift heavy objects or reach for things in high places. The key is moderate exercise without overexertion.
I understand.
Henry nodded as Dr. Bailey explained. "Don't worry, I can handle cooking and shopping, so it would help if you could assist with cleaning and laundry." I frankly asked Henry. He responded with a smile.
Oh, that won't be much different from now. I'll take care of the heavy shopping items like potatoes and drinks.
I was genuinely happy that Henry was so willing to help out. I left my jobs when we got married, and now I work part-time at a nearby supermarket, doing cashier and stocking work. I work about 3 times a week for 3 to 4 hours, which isn't too hard on my body. Many of my coworkers are older women who have had children, so they often give me advice and look out for me. Recently, Henry's job has gotten busier. Since we used to work at the same company, I'm familiar with his job. He's employed in an office job, so there shouldn't be much overtime except during the fiscal year end.
We've started a new department, so things have gotten busy. I've been assigned as the leader, working with the younger employees.
He said, "I'm going to be a dad, so I need to work hard, but I worry he might be overdoing it. Don't push yourself too hard."
Don't worry, I make sure to take breaks when I need them.
He reassured me. One day, I got a call from my cousin.
Natalia, can you help me with something?
The cousin who calls me Natalia is Samuel. He's 2 years younger than me and just got married last year. His wife's name is Barbara. They've been dating since high school as they were classmates. Recently, they found out Barbara is pregnant, so Samuel often consults me, his slightly more experienced cousin. What do you want to ask about?
Well, Barbara's morning sickness is really bad. I feel so sorry for her. She can't stand the smell of food and can't eat anything. What should I do?
Don't be silly. If she can't eat, you eat instead of her, right?
Wait, that's not quite right. No kidding, be serious. How was it for you, Natalia?
I just gave up on foods that made me nauseous and ate what I could. Also, I made sure to stay hydrated. Oh, and mint-flavored gummies or candy really helped.
Got it. Thanks, Natalia. I'll reach out again if I need more advice.
While Julia is my mentor when it comes to childbirth, my cousin Samuel is like an apprentice. Since he lives nearby and runs his own business, he has a flexible schedule, so we've had plenty of opportunities to meet even before he got married. On the other hand, Henry started working more on weekends. He said he wanted to organize all the materials he collected during the week over the weekend. Lately, we haven't been spending much time together, and I felt like Henry's attitude was changing. One evening, I complained about how often he was working on weekends. Can't you manage your work a bit better? You said you'd help with the housework, but I'm doing everything. With my belly growing, even simple tasks like cutting my nails have become difficult. But instead of acknowledging my needs, he just demands more cooperation from me.
My work is crucial right now. You could be more supportive, you know?
I understand, but I'm struggling too. Look at how big my belly is.
I'm working hard for our baby too. Don't just think about your own needs. Besides,
What is it?
I heard you've been meeting a guy recently.
Huh, a guy? Oh, that's just my cousin Samuel. He helps me with shopping when you're not around.
Your cousin? Really? You've been seeing him for quite a while, haven't you?
Of course, we see each other often. We're relatives.
All right, just bear with it for a bit longer.
With a bit of tension between us, the due date was approaching. When the contractions started, I headed to the hospital with Julia. Upon arrival, they told us, the cervix is already dilating, so let's go to the delivery room. After birth, you'll go straight to postpartum care. Julia contacted Henry, but he said he was too busy with work to be present for the birth or help with the hospital preparations. So Julia took care of everything. 5 hours after arriving at the hospital, I gave birth to a healthy baby boy. Despite the unimaginable pain that made me cry out, the midwife said it was an easy birth, and seeing my baby's adorable face made it all worth it. That night, Henry came to the hospital. Dr. Bailey was smiling as she spoke.
Make sure to praise your wife for her hard work. Why don't you hold the baby too?
I was exhausted in bed, but I was imagining Henry's joyful expression. However, Henry didn't smile and remained silent while looking at the baby. Then he muttered,
Is this really my child?
"What? What is he talking about? That's the first thing you say." I was stunned. Dr. Bailey tried to reassure me by saying, "He'll see how cute the baby is in a while." I gathered myself and followed Dr. Bailey's lead. This is our child. Let's do our best to raise him. But Henry remained expressionless. Then, out of nowhere, he said,
Dr. Bailey, I have a request. Please perform a DNA test on this baby.
"What?" I was speechless at Henry's words. A DNA test. He really doubts this is his child. This is absurd. Dr. Bailey was also taken aback. She said, "Well, it can be done, but it's not something you should ask about on the day of the birth," trying to dissuade him. However, Henry insisted on the test.
Yes, please, by all means.
Do you doubt me? This is terrible. It truly was terrible. The pain from giving birth seemed to disappear as I shouted.
I just want to know the truth. If it's really my child, that will be enough for me. It'll put my mind at ease. Unless you have something to hide?
He was implying I had something to hide. It was awful. I'm not asking for gratitude, but asking for a DNA test out of the blue is the worst. Sensing the argument would only escalate, Dr. Bailey reluctantly agreed.
All right, let's do the test.
I was unhappy, but since I knew this was our child, I agreed to the test. After Henry left the room, I started crying. I thought Henry would be happy, but instead, he doubted me so much that he demanded a DNA test. The test was conducted as Henry requested, and we were to receive the results the following weekend when Henry came to visit. On the day of the report, Henry came to the hospital unusually calm. In the hospital room, Dr. Bailey pulled out the report.
I'll get straight to the point.
Yes.
The result of the test shows that the possibility of Henry being the father is...
Dr. Bailey took a deep breath and announced,
0%. This child is not Henry's biological son.
What? I was speechless and nearly collapsed. There was no way. I had no idea how this could be possible. But how? My mind went blank. Henry smirked.
I knew it.
He then declared triumphantly,
You tried to pass off a child from an affair as mine.
Pointing at me, he said, We're getting a divorce. This is all your fault. I'm going to demand a hefty compensation, so be prepared. He left the hospital room with those final words. I was left in complete shock. I consulted Julia and Samuel. Julia listened quietly and then spoke with determination.
You've been falsely accused. This is no joke. We need to make sure he gets what's coming to him.
Samuel, for some reason, had a confident grin.
That's right. I'm all set on my end. So you can relax, Natalia.
How can she relax with this situation?
Julia snapped.
Oh, right. Sorry.
Samuel responded cheerfully. I couldn't tell if they were serious or just enjoying my misfortune. Later, I received a call from Henry.
I've decided to get a divorce. My parents agree. As the victim, I'm demanding compensation. Around $30,000 seems fair.
I'll leave it to my lawyer. Is that okay?
Sure, whatever. You'll have to pay for the delivery expenses yourself. I won't spend money on someone else's kid.
Do whatever you want.
I will. I'm the victim here. If you can't pay the compensation, I'll take the house and land. I have that right.
Henry remained aggressive. That house and land are my inheritance from my late parents.
I don't care. Anyway, I'm busy preparing for the divorce. I'll be in touch.
I reported Henry's call to Julia and we planned our next steps. Soon I was discharged from the hospital and Samuel came to pick me up.
How are you feeling?
I'm much better now, but it's just the beginning. I need to stay strong for my baby. I looked down at the little life swaddled in my arms.
Right. We're going to give your husband payback. Double, no, triple.
We chatted like this until we got home. My house looked completely different. Henry had taken all his belongings. In the empty room, only the baby items I had prepared were left. There was a note from Henry. It said, I've left the house. I won't be coming back. It's pointless to look for me at my parents' place because I'm not going back there. Contact me only if necessary. If he wasn't going to his parents' place, I knew where he'd be. Honestly, he's always quick with things like this. I sighed in exasperation. A little later, Henry called. Perfect timing. As soon as I answered, Henry started yelling.
What do you think you're doing, sending that to my office?
Oh, that? Well, since you wouldn't tell me where you were, I had no choice but to send it to your office. I replied nonchalantly.
You've got to be kidding me. My boss demanded an explanation, and I had to talk about our divorce. Now, everyone at work is looking at me weirdly.
Just as planned, it seemed things were getting hectic for Henry. That's not my problem. So, did you read it? Make sure you show up at the lawyer's office. Don't you dare run away.
Who's running away? You better be prepared. I'm going to fight this all the way.
It seemed the certified letter the lawyer sent had arrived at his office. I could imagine Henry panicking. Yes, the net was tightening around him. Then we met at the lawyer's office to discuss the divorce. Henry's parents were there too. Julia and her husband accompanied me. Julia's husband is David. David works in construction and treats me like a little sister. The discussion began.
My wife had an affair and tried to pass off the child as mine, using my money to raise it. This is incredibly malicious. So I'm demanding not just alimony, but also the house and land in her name as compensation.
This was Henry's main reason and conditions for the divorce. Wow, he was being very bold. I was fully prepared and remained calm.
I understand. However, even if the divorce is due to an affair, asset division is still required. And don't assume all your demands will be met. My job is to mediate your differing opinions and make a fair judgment based on the facts. Please understand that.
Then, justice is on my side. Trying to pass off someone else's child as mine is like fraud. Maybe I should call the police.
His parents also chimed in.
Natalia, this is terrible. We were so happy about our first grandchild, and now it's not even Henry's child.
This is heartbreaking. The most pitiful one here is the child. Please at least make sure to take care of the baby properly.
No matter what the lawyer says, what you did is unforgivable. I'm completely innocent and the victim here. How much you regret and apologize to me matters. So do you feel any remorse or willingness to apologize?
Henry seemed convinced of his victory. Well, it's time. No, the one who needs to reflect and apologize is you, Henry.
What? What are you saying?
Henry stood up, shocked by my unexpected counterattack. I continued calmly. It's time to face the truth. I know everything.
What are you talking about? I know who your lover is, and I'll demand compensation from him too.
It was time to reveal my evidence. I actually have someone here I'd like to call in.
Who? Is it one of your accomplices?
Henry shouted, fully in combat mode. Don't be silly. I'm the victim here. This is a witness.
A witness?
Yes, please come in. As I said this, two people walked through the door. Henry's mouth fell open.
You and you.
Yes, this is Dr. Bailey from the OB/GYN and my cousin Samuel.
Hello.
Greeted Dr. Bailey. Samuel introduced himself.
Nice to meet you, or rather, I'm Samuel Roberts, Natalia's cousin.
This is the guy Natalia was cheating with. Wait, you're her cousin? You two had a child together?
Don't be ridiculous. I live nearby, and my wife is pregnant, so I've been asking Natalia for advice. She's like a sister to me. I've never seen her as a woman.
Come on, Samuel. Isn't that a bit rude? I'll deal with him later.
Can I please speak now?
Dr. Bailey interjected with a smile. Sorry, Dr. Bailey, please go ahead. I urged her to explain.
Thank you. To put it simply, the DNA test results show that the baby is definitely Henry and Natalia's child.
What? What? What?
Henry shouted in disbelief.
But the test said the baby wasn't mine.
You bribed the person in charge of the test to falsify the results. When my husband, the hospital director, confronted him, he confessed in tears. We have the confession recorded.
Even I would confess if confronted by her husband.
Damn it.
Henry bit his lip.
Julia suspected the test results and brought in your hair for another test. Normally, we wouldn't do this, but her explanation convinced us. The second test confirmed the baby is yours and Natalia's. The person who helped you was fired to protect the hospital's integrity.
Henry's father was stunned.
Henry, why did you do this?
He stood up and confronted Henry.
Well,
As Henry stammered, Julia answered for him.
Because Henry was the one having an affair.
What?
Henry's parents were left speechless, their mouths hanging open.
When I went shopping in the city, I saw Henry walking with an unknown woman. It was a Saturday, and Natalia said he was supposed to be working overtime, so I got suspicious and asked Samuel to investigate.
Samuel, prompted by the mention, started boasting proudly.
Actually, I worked part-time at a private investigator's office during college, so I'm pretty good at background checks.
And guess what? We found a ton of evidence of his affair. Here's a recording of one of their conversations.
Julia played the recording from an IC recorder. It captured the voices of Henry and the woman.
I'm going to fake a DNA test to make it look like the baby isn't mine. Then I can claim she cheated. There's even someone who fits the bill, her cousin. I've got pictures, and I'll frame it as an affair. That way, I can divorce her and pin all the blame on her. I'll get alimony, and since she had a baby, I can demand the house and land too. I'll be the tragic hero. Then I can be with you without any issues. How's that? I'm a genius, right?
More like a villain. You sound like a bad guy from a soap opera.
The recording ended with the two laughing. Samuel added,
The woman is Laura Linney, a younger colleague from your team at work.
Henry's face turned pale. With such clear evidence, there was no room for excuses.
Now that the facts are clear, it's my turn.
The lawyer said with a smirk, pulling out several documents from an envelope.
These are Natalia's demands. She requests a divorce from Henry. She won't press charges regarding the fabricated DNA test, so that's not part of this case. She is demanding alimony from both Henry and his affair partner. Additionally, she requests the division of assets and child support from Henry.
Henry's parents were stunned by the unexpected turn of events. Henry was cornered and completely overwhelmed by my and Julia's confrontation. I filled out and signed the divorce papers and had Henry sign his part. The lawyer signed as the witness and promptly filed the divorce. We left the office and celebrated with drinks at a nearby place. And so I divorced Henry. I received a significant amount of alimony and child support in a lump sum. His parents apparently covered the payment. Henry was disowned by his parents. He would be repaying the debt bit by bit. Henry's affair partner, being a colleague, was also found guilty of misconduct during work hours, and both were fired. Left alone after his affair partner ditched him, Henry struggled to find a new job and ended up working part-time at a gas station. Oh, and I named my son Michael. Michael and I live together now. He's still young, so I've taken a break from work to focus on raising him. We can manage for a while with the alimony. Michael is adorable, and I often take photos and videos of him. Samuel edited some and posted them online, and they unexpectedly became quite popular. Thanks to the popularity, we even started making money from the videos. It turned into a good income, so I've decided to save it for Michael's future. And my child rearing has been greatly supported by the people around me. Julia, of course, and the ladies at my part-time job have all helped out. Especially the ladies who shop for me at the supermarket since I can't go out and deliver the groceries to my home. Actually, the deliveries were often done by the store manager. The ladies had a scheme to set me up with him since he was also divorced. When Michael turned 1, the store manager proposed to me. Despite his position, he was always humble and worked hard, treating both employees and part-timers equally, which I admired. And with his frequent deliveries, we had many opportunities to talk. So my admiration soon turned into affection. I happily accepted his proposal. Michael had met him many times and had grown fond of him. He genuinely cared for Michael, so I felt I could trust him. Although I accepted his proposal, we didn't get married immediately and spent some time preparing. Recently, Michael has started calling him by his name or dad. It feels like I've been given a second chance at happiness. This time, I'm determined to hold on to it and never let go. I made this resolution while watching Michael sleep peacefully.